So how are you doing? Are you with the king? So it's all about right now. Get your mind off the other things. There's many people and many church leaders or former that look worse than my hair. Even if I'm smoking a cigarette naked. Ah! The truth will be revealed. And as it's revealed, people are starting to wake up. Depending on how plugged in you are. Because see, you can look at that beast and figure out who the beast was. And I used to think it was Trump. He acted a little beastly to me, but I don't think that's quite it, actually. Man, just a little taste of the sauce sometimes. That's what I love about a good sauce. I'm kind of a little taste it around. It's good sauce. Like a good Beurre Blanc. You can just eat it all day. Good sauce, kind of like good taste in your mouth. You know when you're on the right team, you know when you're with the king, it's all good. All these people talking all these other things, it's not good. But if you've been plugged into the system, maybe it's through the internet. I don't know. Because I'm trying to keep the falsies in trouble on YouTube. Since they're going to be gold tooth 1,000 years, and I want to make sure, that the king's liking what he sees on YouTube, not that they got a bunch of falsies preaching wrong, like John MacArthur coming out the other day. What did he say? Some word game stuff about kingdom. The Lord's special are in his kingdom. It's amazing how these people come out, but they don't want to look at Matthew where it talks about doctrines of men make sons of hell. Those aren't fun verses when you've been into doctrines of men for a long, long time. Got all those degrees, like masters of divinity. So if you see some of these pastors coming out saying, hey, look, I did this. It reminds me when Jesus comes and said, I did this in your name, I did this. And he goes, I don't know you. You ain't with me. You with the Sino de Satan. Working for a prince. That's not quite right. Because you got to really look at what Abraham said. He said the sands of the sea would be his. And if you figured out which sands are which... Oh, man, I got some beachfront land in Arizona for you. Well, oceanfront, whatever you want to call it. See, it's all about your king. And if he's not your king and he's not coming to set up his kingdom here, and somebody else is planning to do it, and the way they're going to plan to do it, it ain't pretty. Because that's a bunch of men trying to be king, and they've all been working for princes for a really long time. Those princely ways just ain't working. So, if you're all plugged in with all the new things and all the Obama flicks, well, problem is, once you start believing the lies, the truth looks like a lie. More than the lie looks like a lie. Start believing the lies, get sucked in, and you can't taste that sauce of the truth that you just can't get enough of. You just want to come back, so good. It's true, see? But when it's lies, just like GMOs, cheap food, it makes it looks so good in that disguise, but then you start eating it and your body just gets all messed up in your head too. You start believing all that fluff. That's the thing about good frosting. It is really good, especially when it's done right. Like that wedding cake frosting. I think it's a genius. Just white chocolate and cream cheese, equal parts. Just blend it together. When it's the right temperature, it can sit outside. Doesn't melt that much. And it always tastes so divine. But even that great frosting, if it's on fluffy, crappy cake, ain't gonna do it for the wedding. Because the cake's where it's at. Not a bunch of yeast. No, no, no. You want a cake with the butter or something like that. The taste is just so perfect. And just enough sweetness, just enough that spongy texture, but with the butter flavor and whatever that is, that flavor, whether it's vanilla, that'll make that frosting kick off just right. That's where you're in the cake. So right now, there's a lot of truth cake out there. It's claiming to be truth. There's a lot of doctrinal experts. Like, what's it, Mike Winger? He's winging all right. Or is it Winger? I can't keep up with them all. But the wise man over there, I think he's on the East Coast somewhere. He's got his whole family working for him. He's getting ready to be Timothy or something now. But if he's all in false doctrine, he's in blasphemy. So that's not a really good place to pat yourself on the back saying, oh yeah, it's Pearl. Matthew Pearl, I think. With the white beard and the farm and everything. But he really needs to check his doctrine, because if he's patting himself on the back saying, look all these things I've done. I got this, missionary and all this stuff. But if it's wrong, that means he's in blasphemy, which there's no forgiveness of that or in the life to come. So he needs to make sure he's not working for a prince before he starts presenting all this stuff, because I don't know why he does all these videos talking about his great mission work, because, buddy, you can say that to the king, and if you ain't talking king yet, he's going to say, depart, I don't know you, who work iniquity for the faux Jew. And that would not be a good place to be, because it's not like you get second chances over there, especially when you've been a teacher and all that. So that's when these days come. I thank God I ain't been teaching and got accreditation. I know many people who do, and they love that plaque on the wall. It says they can say what they do. But when the king comes, he ain't looking for none of that. All he's listening to is truth. And who are you? And do I really know you? So, I ain't got no accreditation, but I do know that I like to talk to the king, and I know he's going to be coming. And he ain't looking for no special things you've done. You need to prove that you know him. He's coming for his kingdom right here on earth, just like that prayer says. The kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. So before you get into asking for that daily bread, you need to think about, are you with the king or some other stead? Because you don't want to be with no other stead if you're talking, especially talking about what you've been doing and all your degrees and all your... No. If you want to talk about what you're doing for the king, maybe you should talk like me about car camping and things like that, because he was homeless after all, and he is coming naked. So you want to play word games. Ain't no words to play with that. You just gotta face truth and face it square on. And know you need that king that all will bow to. And don't you worry about that man out on that island that never got the gospel truth. Because the king knows him and has his ways. Just like he had his ways with you, maybe. Depending on how wake up you get by the time he comes. Just don't get too plugged in with all your fancy little movies and video games, because you might get too lit up in that and not be able to taste the true taste and hear. As he did say many times, he who hears, let him hear. Let him who sees, let him see. Which means that many would be just deaf to the truth and blind to his ways, just as they were when he first came. Said and did all those things and loved all those people just like his father said. But they still killed him. Didn't like what he said, because the truth hurts when it takes away your stead. There's many people that got many steads right now, and they got it many ways, but most of it was through doctrines of men. Those doctrines of men make sons of hell, just like he always said. But they don't like to teach those words. Having to do with their stead. So, better to just trust the king than trust all these strange things. Because when he comes, it's not going to be like a timeout thing. It's going to be a long remembrance of all these years that you had all these chances to just look to the king. And all these other things that you went into, like that beautiful frosting, but the cake just didn't quite taste right. The frosting was so good with that white chocolate and cream cheese, sweet and perfect. Just ate it and just didn't worry about that cake. But now you're starting to wonder, is that cake quite right? Or am I still loving that frosting? You're not getting fed quite right. That's the thing about milk. It does feed you. But after you grow up and had meat, it just doesn't quite do it. So are you getting milk? Or are you eating meat? Eating meat for the king and looking into Revelation 17 about how that whore Babylon's going to go down. It's that whore getting exposed every day, just a little bit more. But if you're in with that whore, in that fake church or whatever it is, when he comes, it ain't going to be easy for you to just peel away. But the angels, they're going to do some of that. But that's not going to be fun. Better for you to just peel yourself away now. Get into the king's fun. That's what it is when you work for the king, because you know the prince is already loses. You know they're not going to win anyway, so it's all good. Just work with the king. And then you can have fun, because you know you're on the winning team, and you don't have to worry about what they say or what they do, because they are all worried about what's to come. Trying to keep the plan going for as long as they can. You can see many Q plans going down the tubes real quick. So it's a good time to just make sure you're in with the king. say, thank you, Lord, that you are the King. You will come and restore this place again. Make it right like it should be. Like you made us to dwell in. With 1,000 years and 72 million pro-choice forgotten kids. Wow, this is a kingdom that it would be so great to be a part of. But would you help us to get on the same page and stop dividing over silly doctrinal lies? Because you are the King and you've got it all worked out. Just like Santa Claus, you got plenty a naughty list worked out and gold in your hands to work it all out for good. So we can just trust in the plan and know you're going to make it all good. So get that 1,000 years of rest in your head and how easy it would be to go back to all truth and naked karma the way it should be. Then the worries, they just come and go. And you can laugh again because King's got a plan. And worry's not a part of it. Only thing you might need to worry if you're not on the King's page and you haven't been thinking about him coming, or you're thinking about taking off in some rapture. Now that is a trap that you will be stuck in, and you buy into those lies, well, the UFO will take you. And where you end up, it ain't going to be good, and it's going to be cold-blooded, I guarantee you that. But my King, he made me right. He's going to restore me even better. So I'm going to get involved in all that. Nah, I got something way better. I'm working with the King to get your heart right. Get on the King's side as the whore starts going down tonight.